Movie review. This week I saw Alita Battle Angel and the new How to Train Your Dragon movie, and so I just wanted to talk about it, I guess. So Alita Battle Angel is the new Robert Rodriguez film. James Cameron gave him the money to make an anime adaptation, and God bless. It looks really freaking good. Robert Rodriguez, he directed Sin City, From Dusk Till Dawn, and Spy Kids. All of them. What a hero. Thankfully, Alita Battle Angel falls more into a Sin City kind of movie, where it's actually good. And like I said, Alita was adapted based on this manga right here that I have. So I'm kind of a fan, if you could tell from the fact that I own it. I don't know if this has glare on it, or if you can even see it, or if this is a massive waste of time. Knowing my luck, it probably is. So I had pretty high hopes for this movie, but I decided to set my expectations really low because I'm very jaded. And also James Cameron was involved, and I'm not a huge fan of most of his work after Aliens and Terminator, which I think is the peak of anything that he ever gave us. And Avatar was mediocre at best as far as story goes, but it did look amazing, and so I was very hopeful that this new movie would also look amazing, and it does. Apparently, in one of Alita's eyes, there's as much data and information as an entire creature from Avatar. I don't know if that's true. A friend told me that. I should look that up before I put this in the video. Alita's the story of a young cyborg girl who is thrown out of a floating city called Zalem, and she falls down into a trash heap and in the middle of a ground city, which is sort of like the rinky-dink ghetto of this world. And she's found by Christoph Waltz's character Ito, and Ito rebuilds her. But when he rebuilds her, Alita has no memory of anything that's happened to her, so she sort of sets out to figure out everything about the world with the guidance from Ito. Quality-wise, like I said, it's probably the best looking effects that I've seen in a very long time, even compared to Avatar, which I thought was the best part of that movie. I think it looks better than that even. Not only that, but the whole world that Rodriguez is recreating from the manga is done just so well. It looks amazing. It feels very real. The people that walk around in the city, it's very lively. It really does the manga justice. You can tell that Rodriguez and Cameron had a lot of passion for this project, and so they wanted to make it the best that they could, and it paid off. So as far as what I did like I said, the world building is excellent, and also the action scenes are excellent, especially the sport called Motorball, which is just, the special effects shine their brightest in those scenes. It is thrilling. My heart was racing, the sound design's really excellent. I could see how some people might not be as immersed because it is all mostly CGI. It might be kind of difficult to connect emotionally during those scenes, but dang do they look cool. And if you like your Marvel movies and your various other blockbusters, then you really shouldn't have much of a problem with it. And speaking of CGI, of course, Alita's eyes can seem kind of off-putting to those who see it for the first time. And it is a bit confusing why they when her eyes look like that, but other characters who also had big eyes in the manga don't look like that. But it didn't really bother me after a while. I became accustomed to it and eventually full-on embraced it. And I think part of the reason for that is that Alita is just such an amazing character. Cameron has really brought her to life. He has made no compromises in bringing her character to the screen and capturing her personality and putting it all there. Everything that's in the manga, it's all there. She's just as lovable, she's just as badass, she just rules. Even though she's sort of trying to figure out the world, and so she has this very curious innocence about her, it's portrayed in a way that's very empowering to her, and I really like that. So yeah, as far as things that I don't like, it mostly comes down to dialogue and dialogue scenes. I think they could have used a little bit more polish. Sometimes it feels a little expositional. Sometimes the interactions just feel kind of vapid or uninteresting. It feels like they sort of casted from the Disney Channel pool for some of the characters, the Yugo's friend group. And in certain scenes it works, like in the motorball scenes and stuff, because it's kind of, it helps add to the relatability of Alita. She's trying to get along with these friends, and like the way that she interacts with them contextually. And we actually don't get a whole lot of that in the manga early on. So it was really interesting and cool to see that anyway. But in certain scenes they just kind of felt out of place and stilted. Overall, I don't think any of those complaints should stop you from going to see it if you get the chance. And I would even recommend finding the biggest screen that you possibly can for those amazing action sequences, and you may end up regretting it if you see it on Netflix or whatever after it comes out there.
You are someone very special.
Hey, kid.
Not just a teenage girl.
Hey, what's your problem?
You can't remember.
What do you mean?
Doc found you in the scrapyard. So you must be from up there.
And I'm just an insignificant girl.
That's what they want you to think.
The next movie I saw was the new How to Train Your Dragon movie, and I was also pretty excited for this one. I've seen the first two a couple times, and I'm a pretty big fan of them. They have their flaws. Neither of them are perfect, I would say. But I was still excited for this one because, you know, there's always the chance that this one could be the best, or it could be the worst. And unfortunately, it's the worst. It's still good. I still like it, but it doesn't feel as exciting or fresh or original as the first two. And a lot of the characters here now that were charming in the first two and had a purpose in the first two sort of lose a lot of their impact in this one. Instead, they're delegated to be comedic effect or just kind of avoided altogether. I remember every now and then some characters would talk and I would be like, oh yeah, you exist, I forgot about that. One thing that has always stood out about the first two is the visuals, and thankfully this one is no exception to that. There's one scene in particular that like took my breath away and I wasn't really expecting it. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it. I think it was in one of the trailers as well. And for that scene, I was glad that I was watching it in theaters. But for most of the rest of it, I was just whelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed, I wasn't underwhelmed, it was just fine. The villain in this one was a bit of a disappointment as well. And that's the case for the last one. They sort of set him up as if he's going to be more interesting, but then eventually he just sort of flatters out and he's not all that compelling. I just wanted something that motivated him to be a little bit more strong. But it's just sort of like, I'm evil because... I did really like his dragon henchman guys, those were really cool. So as far as things that I did like, they introduced a female Night Fury for Toothless to fall in love with. And I really enjoyed the romantic scenes between the two of them. There are these really long, drawn-out sequences that don't have any dialogue at all in them. And it was just really refreshing to see that in a movie of this budget. Especially one that's marketed towards children. And once again, those scenes are also some of the best looking in the movie. And there is a solid theme there of Hiccup sort of learning to let Toothless go and coming into his own without the help of the dragons as the chief. He has to sort of rise up and really take his father's place in a mature way that isn't the way that he acted in the previous two movies. I also found the last sequence to be really satisfying as far as the conclusion goes to the whole thing. But again, the actual base story here isn't as interesting as I would like it to be. So overall, I wouldn't really recommend How to Train Your Dragon 3. I would just wait for it to come out on streaming services. Or cable, if you have that. I don't know if anyone has cable anymore, but you know.
Oh my god. He's not the only one.
She's a light fury.
Oh, sorry.
Did she just disappear?
So yeah, those are my thoughts about Alita Battle Angel and How to Train Your Dragon 3. I hope you enjoyed and got something out of it, hopefully, and I wasn't just rambling for however long this video is. And I will see you guys in the next video of whatever I make. Bye bye.